Hello, my name is Dr. David Porter. I am the adjunct tuba instructor at George Mason University, and I'm going to play for you now the Virginia District 11 Tuba Audition Etude. So here's a couple of pointers about this etude. It's from a very famous old tuba solo called Concertante. And at the beginning, I want to point out that so many of my students ask, do not play the small notes that say piano. Start right where the big notes are. The time signature is 12/8, which means that the eighth note gets the beat. However, it's going so fast that you need to count in groups of 3. So each measure, the dotted quarter, is going to get the pulse, and it will then continue in that way throughout the first part of the etude. Notice that I started off reasonably loud forte, decrescendo at the end of the first line. Second line is just a mezzo forte, still in tempo, getting a little softer. Notice in the last 2 measures of the top part of this etude that the tempo slows down while you're holding a long note. So let it slow down, and that's why I suddenly played slower at the very end. And then make sure you hold out your last A flat 4 full counts. We want to hear your sound and hear if you can hold that. The second part of this etude is much faster, of course. I would suggest just take it, 112 to 120. It doesn't have to be super duper fast, but you do want it to be lively and fun. Articulate the notes in all the quarter notes with a little bit of shape and separation. Make sure that you play all the 16ths very cleanly. In the descending notes, anywhere in this middle part of the etude, make sure you crescendo down into the lower notes and then back away a little bit as you come up. Or in this case, starting in the 5th line of this whole etude, second measure on the E flat, when you start that passage, crescendo through each one of the 16th note passages. Not only will that help it come out better, it'll add a little bit of musical direction to what you're doing. When you get to the double half note F that is tied over the bar line, count out all 4 counts and count the rest right after that. And then the last part of this etude, it says dolce, which means sweetly. Play it daintily and light, a little bit light and lively sort of, but it's very sweet and quaint. And so it takes on a whole different character there than the rest of the etude. So we wish you all the best and look forward to hearing you play. And look me up at George Mason University at wporter@gmu.edu if you have any questions. Have a good day.